So I'm basically a bit about Netnod. We are the biggest Nordic IX. We operate 2 larger IXs, one in Stockholm, one here in Copenhagen. And we have a few regional IXs around Scandinavia too. One is powered by Nix in Oslo, and Gothenburg, Stockholm, Sundsvall, and Luleå. I'm so screwed out with my presentation notes. So Routeservers. They are quite good for smaller players, and these are just my personal notes. I come from an ISP background, so Routeservers are good if you don't want to put in time to it. It's an easy way to actually get peers on that IX without doing any work, pretty much. And it's pretty good for larger players. Same issue there. Like if you put some time into it and still do additional peering sessions with the peers that you actually want, you can still have the router set up to gain some more traffic and more knowledge on what actual new networks are connecting. Because you might not want to be sitting around watching a mailing list saying, now this person has connected. And the bigger players, the really big players and the stubborn ones, we know everyone knows who they are. They don't want to be on routers. Why? They say either bad filtering, RPKI, and IRR records, and basically they don't like Routeservers. And one solution does not fit everyone. I think everyone should be on a Routeserver, but people are going to disagree with me on that one. So what I'm here to talk about is the actual setup that Netnod has been running for God knows how many years. It is actually configured by a Perl module. It is not, as it's a script that implements a Perl module. Ah, thank you. Got my presentation notes. Yeah, so it's too long too, though, so I can't see everything. So I'm screwed anyways. So what basically it's a Perl module that generates configuration for Bird. This was written by a colleague of us. It has been running for so many years, so it still works, but it has hindered us in a way that we cannot always update to need this oldest Bird version or something because we don't know how that Perl script might break everything. So we needed to revamp that, and we needed to do. We had a lot of different revision of hardware, like some servers were from the 90s, some are from the 20th centuries, and so on and so forth. And we had no stats, no Lookingglass, and we just need to do something because routers are good, but it needs to have some love to it. So we were looking into changing the platform, and we started looking at these actual implementations of it. And Netnod is a sponsor of OpenBGPD, so we're actually paying them to develop it. GoBGP, because I have some experience with it from my previous employer, and Bird, because that's the de facto standard route server around for the most big IXs. So if you look at this matrix, you have some reasons why you should do something, like Bird. They don't have RPKI integrated. It doesn't have RTR support, but you can do a Routeserver, as Job said. FlowSpec, we're not going to run FlowSpec right now, but we really like FlowSpec as a concept, so we had that on it. And can Netnod deploy this actual Routeserver on their network? And only 2 failed on it, and that is Bird 2.0 and OpenBGPD. And OpenBGPD fails because it's only BSD and not portable. Next slide. There we go. So basically, these are the 2 big concerns we had. We wanted to switch over to a Routeserver, and GoBGP did not have a Routeserver support, or opposite way around. There was no Lookingglass for GoBGPD, but we why we picked a Routeserver? Oh, this is Job slide. Basically, the idea behind a Routeserver for us was that we want to implement an abstraction between the customer data that we have that generates configuration into Bird, GoBGP, OpenBGPD, whatever you want to run. And don't have a Perl module that someone is actually checking in and out of a CVS repository. And it is built by many IXPs. I think there's at least 4 contributing IXPs that is providing to a Routeserver. So I am really off my game today. What we needed to do was basically implement GoBGP support into a Routeserver. That means actually getting feature parity with the current community set standards that they have in a Routeserver, like certain communities has been implemented, community black holing, and so on. And we also needed to implement GoBGP support in Alice Lookingglass. And that is currently being done by me and my colleagues. So we have branches on GitHub that is currently not merged into the main repos, but we are working on it. Some have dependencies between them, so we basically need to get the Go BGP patch in before we can do Lookingglass patch, and then Arouteserver needs a bit more tweaking for some of the features that Netnod is not currently using. But we need to have those implemented in the templates for it to be merged into the master. So Perl. This is actually the configuration that we were running and how we configure a peer on a router. This is actually from the Perl script. How about no? Let's not do Perl anymore. And so Routeservers configures with YAML. It's pretty much the same information, but it's not Perl. And it's not a Perl module that you actually have to run and have Perl installed on your machines. I think we're missing a slide. Okay. I'm sorry, but I think, yeah, one slide is missing. Basically, as you see here, instead of doing the Perl script, we can now do curl to a web service that will actually pull data from our CRM system, our provisioning systems, and generate from that the customer configuration that we need to put into a Routeserver. That will then generate a Go BGP configuration, bird configuration, and so on. We will support all standard communities that has not been in place. We have not been supporting large communities officially, not extended communities officially, but we have had them. But now we're actually going to support everything, and we are actually going to put them out on the Netnod page again. Which communities will do what. So you can do quite a lot of traffic engineering on the Routeserver, as long as you put in the time and effort into actually padding on communities towards each, where you want to spread your traffic from to. But most of everything, so job is quiet. We are doing RPKI. It is going to be implemented day one. We are, at least someone is clapping. We are not going to be dropping unknowns, but we are going to be tagging unknowns. So basically, if you want to take a stance saying, I do not want to have received routes from the Routeserver that is unknown, you can basically just drop them in on your inbound. But we are going to do the validation for you, so you don't have to do the validation yourself. We are going to be dropping in invalids, though. So if someone tries to do a prefix hijack, we are going to drop it in the Routeserver. It's not going to be propagated to anyone. It will be showing on the Lookingglass, though. So we'll be able to see that the route has been sent in by someone, but it's never going to be sent out to anyone. Yeah, Lookingglass. It's a really cool project developed by Matthias Hanning and sponsored by DKNOG nowadays. It was built from Ekix one time, but it's basically just built for Bird. So they built it on top of Birdwatcher, but it's Golang based with a React frontend. It took me less than 2 days to hack in the Go BGP source for Alice Lookingglass, so I would say that's a pretty good code base for what they're actually doing. And this is the timeline for it. We are actually have it running in a lab, and we have all the servers set up in Copenhagen. We are just waiting on having some people who wants to do friendly user testing with us to see that everything is working as it should be. And it's hard to always do everything with our VIOS virtual instance and test everything. We tried to do all the community tagging and information, but it's always some edge case. Someone is going to try to set up a peer that's going to fail, and it's good to iron out the bugs. So if you have interest in joining it and it's connected at the Netnod Copenhagen, just send them an email. And we'll get back to you on it. And then Copenhagen is going to be launched first. So Stockholm is going to have to sit back for a while we do Copenhagen, do some revamps, get it working properly here. And then we're going to do Stockholm shortly after. So this is basically going to be done during the summer for both big sites. And the smaller sites are going to get the same treatment, but later on, due to we have to do other stuff on those IXs first. So that's done with Routeservers now. So we have a little bit news from Netnod, what we're doing also. That is going to be more explained at the Netnod event that is going to take place the 2nd and 3rd April. But basically, we are going to start selling access from one IX to another. So basically, you can connect in Copenhagen, but reach the IX in Stockholm for an additional fee on top of the normal fee you have for being connected in Copenhagen. You can also do it from Gothenburg to Stockholm, Gothenburg to Copenhagen, Copenhagen to Gothenburg, whatever you want to do. It's one VLAN that you're going to have on top of your normal delivery. We have also had a service that's called Optical IX, which was basically a metro in Stockholm and Copenhagen, Malmö. We are actually going to start selling not metro only, but you're going to be able to buy a wavelength from Copenhagen to Stockholm through our network. We will also provide access to other cloud providers. So basically, if you want to have an AVS Direct Connect, you can go through us to get Stockholm into AVS there. But more information on all of this will come at the Netnod meeting in a couple of days. 34th April, of course. And if you can't attend in person, we will be broadcasting it on YouTube, so you can follow along there. That's it.